Hey guys, Lucas here again. This is going to be a video on the differences between a Legend Pango player, a Divine Pango player, and then an Immortal Pango. So I'm going to be giving you 3 different games. They're going to go one after the other. So for the first game, it's going to be a bunch of clips that I gathered from the Legend game, from everything that he could improve on in the laning phase, to how he's rolling and how he plays later on in the game, and how he looks at the map. I'm going to look at that as well for the Divine Pango and then for the Immortal Pango. So the video is going to be a bit long. I hope you'll bear with me. You should be able to skip ahead as well, depending on which kind of game you want to look at, or maybe if you're not interested in the Legend game, that's up to you. But anyways, I hope you enjoy. Alright, so this game is between our Legend Pangolier friend Violet Vegetable Garden and Sina Yang, the Guardian Queen of Pain. So the first thing that I want to talk about in this lane, I'm going to try to focus on what you can do better as Pango to make this lane go in your favor. So the first wave kind of goes fine. I might have pushed the wave into his tower to put him under more pressure, but this is still fine. I like how his first Q actually hit the Queen of Pain. You'll find that later on when he does his Qs, you should just be more aware of where you're queuing. So you're going to see he's going to fire one off here, and you're just like, there's just no reason not to hit the Queen of Pain is all. This does seem like a very small thing, but it does add up as your Q starts to get to more levels. I guess level 1 Q doesn't do that much damage, but it's still worth it when it's not really any skin off your bones to do more damage to the Queen of Pain, especially when it doesn't put you in a more dangerous situation. So here, again, you just, like, it's great. You went for the range creep, but you could have also fired your Q from here, and you could have hit the Quap. You could have been still at a safe distance. It's not, like, it's just not... You should just try to optimize some of these things is all. Okay, so I do like how you buy these items here. I don't like how you don't buy any regen, but fortunately for you, this Quap does make a weird play. So you see here, you do have extra creeps pushing into his tower, and he does think he can go on you for some reason. So he walks up to your hero. You recognize that he is out of position. You have way more creeps that are auto-attacking his hero as well. And here, you're winning this fight. As soon as you get this disarm, it's kind of like an indicator that there's no possible way he can win this fight. And this is where I would do something different. So I would be running at him in between my auto attacks, which is just something that happens like with time. I guess when you play the game more, you understand more that you should be not really stagnating as you move. Like, just in case he does decide to run, even though he's probably not going to get away, it does allow you to follow up with more auto attacks if he does run. Ultimately, you did have your Q. You didn't really need to swash through the hero to get the kill, but it was a nice kill overall. Alright, so one play related to rolling that I saw in this game. So this Quap makes a very bad blink. As soon as he blinks in like this, you should immediately 180 and you should roll on the Queen of Pain. You also have Mirana's help, which does end up helping you catch the hero. Okay, but now look at this play. So here, you roll on the hero. You should be immediately clicking here, but instead look at your cursor. You're dragging your cursor here first, and then you're clicking here, and you end up bouncing off of this wall instead of like a closer wall. So if you had immediately clicked in the direction to the right, very, very tight, you could have made a very, very tight roll where you would have bounced off this wall and then maybe bounced back like this. But instead, you actually end up getting the kill a little bit late. Still works out, but then you're close to the tower. You also drew tower aggro here. You could have had potential to maybe turn on the Wyvern if you bounced off this wall and then bounced back. You still had your stick. It's just... It could have been played more optimally, is all I'll say. But overall, it wasn't that bad. Alright, so one other problem that I noticed with this Legend Pangolier is I don't like his camera a lot of the time. And I think that is at fault for sometimes he does these very bad rolls, or very weird rolls, or strange decision making. So here you saw his camera was kind of, like, I kind of just moved my head because I think that he's also, like, playing at an angle or something. Like, how do you even know what's going on your map when you're like, your ball's in the corner of the screen? This is kind of a hard thing to manage as well, because you have to worry about clicking on the map and also, like, trying to figure out where you're going to roll to next. It's just very unclear a lot of the time. That's all. Like, even here, I probably would have my hero a bit centered more. And, you know, like, I'd want to, like, move my camera up to see more of the fight, because I know there's no heroes down here, right? But again, this is kind of just something that you can improve on just by playing more, is getting better camera control. You just seem to keep your camera a little static a bit too much. And a non-static camera helps a lot when you're rolling around the map and playing a hero like Pango that deals so much with traveling in different directions. And And just where you go on the map is very important. Okay, so I know I already hit the nail on the head here with camera movement, but I again just want to show you that here is just something where if your camera movement's better, I think this goes a lot better. So first of all, you should try to hit this guy on the edge of your roll, and then roll back into the other enemies. I guess you don't really know how much damage your roll was going to do to the wyvern. Maybe you thought you needed more damage. Ultimately, this doesn't go that bad. But if you know where the walls are too, so that you do get kind of lucky with this bounce where you are clicking in one direction. But here, like, you can't even see your hero on the map. So one tip that I advise is that as you roll, as soon as you're kind of like heading in a straight direction and you kind of know what you're going to hit, like hit the tops of your screens with your mouse so that your edge petting will start going up, or like hit the top right corner so you'll start moving your camera. Like you make this play, and as you're rolling through, like it's really easy to just like click as you roll through, and also see what I'm doing with my mouse, edge panning like this, like hitting the top of the screen so you're able to better follow your hero. Alright, so the second game that I have for you guys is I have Hecker, the Divine 3 Pangolier player, who is playing against a Divine 2 Void Spirits. So I'm going to try to point out a lot of things that he does differently in lane compared to the other Pangolier. I do realize that the matchup is different. He's not against a Queen of Pain, but even things as simple as this. So you can see after he auto-attacks once, you can see how he runs away, and you can see how he's trading with the Void Spirit. So as the Void Spirit comes in for more auto attacks, he recognizes, okay, he's going to get this auto attack on me. I will trade exactly 1 for 1. This Void Spirit eventually has to run back and kill the creep that is left there, so I can keep trading with these auto attacks. Your camera movement is kind of funky here, but I mean, I'll forgive it. It's probably just preference or something. You do end up fixing it here, which I like a lot more. So I don't really have many complaints about this lane. I really like a lot of stuff that you do in terms of, you know, when you can right-click the enemy hero, and when you can be punished and when you can't be punished for getting these free right clicks off on the Void Spirit. I like how you use creep aggro here. You pull the wave back. You do take a bit too much damage here. It does kind of take you a bit too long to cast your Q, in my opinion. There, I like how you have a salve ready, kind of something different from the legend players. Sometimes I question if the legend player buys enough regen for the lane, but I really like your items this game. I like how you're going bottle as well. I think it's almost a core item on Pango mid these days, especially with the bounty runes at 5 minutes. Even if you do end up not getting the 4-minute rune, which is possible against some matchups, Void Spirit can be a little iffy sometimes at the 4-minute rune with his Q to try to stop you. But other heroes like Queen of Pain do make it a lot harder. I still do think it's very much worth it though. So again, I very much like how you play this lane. It is kind of rough trying to get your bottle timing up. Sorry, I have the wrong hero selected, it looks like. I like how you queue through the heroes here. Great deny. Again, just knowing when you can right-click heroes. You seem to be very good at understanding when you can do this, which I like a lot. So coming up is, I believe, a play that I really like, actually. So here, the Void Spirit runs away. You kind of threaten to deny this range creep. Not really. If I was the Void Spirit... Okay, if I was the Void Spirit, I wouldn't go for this range CS. I kind of know this range CS is dying, in my opinion. But, like, this range CS is not going to be deniable. Based on the fact you have to last with this creep. But he does end up going for it, and you recognize this. So instead, you walk up at him, which I like a lot. You kind of miss this Q through, which is okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. You do have really good positioning. I do kind of... Oh, and you dodge this too, which was very great. I would try to block the hero. You do kind of know this trade is going in your favor. You should probably be clicking on the enemy hero more so you can see his items. Maybe you'd see, okay, well, maybe I can right-click him more. But I do really like that trade. And then you do end up going for the rune. Again, clicking on the enemy hero a lot is something that's very important in these lanes. If you know that he doesn't have any regen or what spells he has, you could actually just go for these kills. Or you could take these trades that favor you a lot, because if you click on him, you'll find out he actually just barely had enough mana for an Aether Remnant, and he actually just doesn't have enough mana for a Resonance Pulse. So if you had clicked on him earlier, maybe even after you queued back like this, you see him running at you, or you do end up taking this Aether Remnant, you can keep running at him. So after you hit him once, run at him more. You're running away. You do know he has a Fairy Fire. And then you kind of just back off. Which, again, you have a Fairy Fire too. You do have your bottle coming. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. If you do know your bottle's coming, you're not really going to go for this rune anyways, though, so there's no point in not running at him. But, again, that's just a minor thing. Okay, so here I want to showcase the Divine Pango's role. So here he goes in after he gets the Arcane Rune. I don't know if he understands exactly when he's going to hit level 6, but if he did, this is amazing timing. So you can see he's clicking in the direction he wants to go immediately after he starts rolling. So he knows he's going to bounce in that direction. And he then clicks in this direction to bounce off this wall. Hits him with the edge of the roll, which is very nice. Rolls back in, hits him again. See where his cursor is? It's just so clean. Like, he knows which wall or the walls are and where he should bounce off of to get the kills. And it goes very well, and he does get the kill. And his camera movement as well is something very noticeable too. So you can see when he is doing that roll, you'll see his camera is just centered on his screen. So he sees everything that's going on. This is going to be a little different when you get to later fights. Of course, this is not hard to do, but yeah. Alright, so you do end up dying here to a Bloodseeker gank, but that's not something that important that I want to worry about. It is very hard to play against Bloodseeker, but I would just want to look at what you're doing in lane. So I really like this Javelin. So people ask me all the time why I like Power Treads over Javelin. And that's more because in the off lane, I kind of want to trade with heroes. And I have a lower level, so my Q isn't really able to kill the wave as fast, as well as duel the enemy. So here, you're actually able to take advantage of this Javelin. I really like this a lot. This is something I do a lot too when I want to jungle. Is there's kind of no reason not to hit both camps, right? Like, I guess you could kind of Q through this camp to deal an extra tick and maybe kill it faster, but most of the time, if you can hit 2 camps at once, that's kind of ideal. Another thing I like is I like how your mana pool is ticking. Here, I like how you start channeling your roll, and then if he all-ins you, you'll actually let your roll loose, and you can't actually kill him. So just the threat of your roll that you offer in these situations is very valuable, and I value that a lot. Okay, so one thing that happens later on is you make a rotation bottom, which I like. I don't really see the need to press W here. You skill W and press it. You're kind of just putting yourself in an awkward mana situation without clarities coming, or I hope you do have clarities coming on the courier. You just start to struggle. And I kind of would prefer an earlier stick timing than this. I'm personally one that, I mean, if you want to buy Wraithband, that's up to you. I'm personally not that big of a fan. I do think it delays your other items. It does help you lane better, though. So it's definitely preference. But here, you just don't have any mana. And it's just, I don't know. Here, like, this situation, if I actually have 0 mana, and I know I want to sit out and keep fighting or keep farming, sometimes I just vary myself 2 clarities and a mango. I just tank the fact that, okay, well, mango costs this much gold, but it's actually worth it to keep up my farming. Because I don't want to wait for the clarity to give me enough mana to swashbuckle. I want to just cast my swashbuckle. So that's one small thing that I probably would have done differently. Alright, so one last fight I want to showcase from this Divine game is just see how he channels his role from outside of vision when he's playing against Bloodseeker. I think it's very important about how he does that. I do think this level 1 W is kind of a waste, especially when your mana is so valuable, when there's such a big fight going on. Here, there's just no reason you shouldn't have a stick at 15 minutes. I do see you end up queuing it up at like 16 minutes, but if you have a stick here, this fight goes entirely different. Eventually, you just end up like running too low on mana. Like, you're even casting this level 1 W for no reason, and now you're just sitting here and you're like, I don't have enough mana for my swashbuckle, which is really bad. You do realize you need to buy a magic wand. I think you quick buy it. Yeah, you quick buy it like right now, which is great. You continue to push out waves, which is good, but that's just one small thing that would have helped a lot more. And a great roll here, by the way. So we talked a lot about making sure your camera is centered on your hero as you roll. So that's, you also got very lucky here. Look how your camera moves. So I like this. So watch how as soon as he gets his roll off and he starts rolling, look at his mouse. After he knows he's going to hit these 2 targets, he slams his mouse against the left wall so he can edge pan to the left and see what's going on. And then this is a great W as well. As he's rolling down, it's really easy to just hit the bottom of your screen like this. So you can make sure you know where you're going. And this is just a much better use of camera movement that it just helps you roll into enemies more. And it helps you make more, it helps you make rolls because you can understand better what's going on the map. Alright, so another thing you do very well as the Divine Pango is I very much like how you farm the map. So you do end up taking a fight bottom, which doesn't look the greatest, and you die. You farm mid, you farm this jungle camp, you farm this jungle camp. You're running down. You have a lot of mana too. You're tread swapping to farm as well. You have clarities. You're killing this way bottom. Like, look at your net worth just climb up on the left-hand side. You kill this camp. You're staying safe from the enemy team. You kill this ancient camp, you walk up, kill this camp, push this camp out too. You can really see how your gold just rapidly grows when you have this Maelstrom and you can play. I mean, that Q might have been a little bit questionable. You're playing against a lot of heroes that are very risky to you. You make this play with your team to go on the Bloodseeker, which is great. Just a lot of good stuff coming out. Not much to comment on. One other play that you make down at this fight, so I like how you take the Arcane Rune. Very farm heavy. If you play a very farm heavy Pango style, I guarantee you you'll win more of your games. You should definitely know what's going on the map, but you should definitely take advantage of what Hecker is doing in this game. The Divine Pango is just pushing out your lanes a lot and making sure that when you go to fights, like look at this top wave, like no matter what happens, this top wave has been pushed out and now you're running into this fight and you're very mobile, so you're able to get to this fight fast. Here he makes a nice play as well where he Qs in, tanks the Rupture, and then he stops his roll and then casts W over this wall and TPs out. That was just a very cool play. I guess I should show it to you a bit slower, but it was just kind of a cool thing as well. And then your team ends up snowballing this lane a bit and you win. But some of the things I like a lot about your gameplay are your farm heavy style, your power treads are really good, your tread swapping is always perfect. You have great mana usage, so oftentimes when I look at you after like 15 minutes, I saw your mana's been really great. Your mana control at least. It was kind of a little bit questionable in the first 15 minutes, but it got really good later on in the game, and I think that's a very important thing too. As well as where you're going on the map, I really want to emphasize how good this camera movement is compared to the Legend Pango. Which, again, it's not really something to say, okay, well, this is the difference between a Legend Pango and a Divine Pango camera movement. Like, that's not all it is, but it does matter a lot when you're playing a hero as mobile as this, and it's very important to know exactly what's going on in your surroundings, because you're such a squishy hero, and also you offer so much disable if you know where the enemies are and which enemies are in which location. Alright, so in this game, it is going to be one of my Pango replays where I'm playing against a rank 150 Puck, who used to be a Pango spammer himself, actually, to be honest. He's one of the players that was kind of playing a lot of Pango mid back in the olden days of NA, where I was kind of only playing it off lane. Now I'm mostly like playing it middle because it kind of guarantees you get more farm. But this is a good lane. So the lane goes kind of normal. We get even blocks. I do try to get my Q off here. It doesn't connect. It's not that big of a deal. Overall, the lane is very straightforward. It's a lot of farm heavy. I kind of need to buy a Sal before my bottle. Pull the creep waves back. A lot of abusing creep aggro in this lane. Here you'll find an interesting play happen, actually. So here, I know he wants this range creep. This range creep is low health. I right-click the hero to pull this melee creep onto my hero. So as I right-click, and after he orbs for the range creep, because he has to orb in order to get that CS, I get the Q. It would have been a block if it was a different hero, but instead I get these auto attacks in. And here's something that might surprise you, is the amount of auto attacks I get in here. So I guarantee you that if I was 5k, I would not have gotten that last auto attack off under tower, just because of sheer knowledge on, or sheer lack of knowledge on how tower aggro works. And it's really just one of those small things that you think, okay, well, that auto attack didn't actually matter that much, but it's really just an accumulation of a lot of small things that kind of makes a very strong player a strong player. So that's just sort of one of those small examples. So a very chill lane. I did get my bottle timing. I am able to harass him a bit because I have a health advantage. It is very rough though. I do end up needing another salve in this lane. I do have plans to buy Raindrop at some point. I don't know why I'm not necessarily buying it. I luckily get help with the rune, which is an insanely good help because I was a little late with getting my bottle to me. But this does give me a massive advantage in the lane. And now I do want to showcase, I think I do a roll later here. So here he does Q the wave. And so I'm not that great on Puck. So I don't really know exactly the CD on his illusionary orb, but I did figure, okay, maybe he's killable. So I pop my illusion rune. I know that this creep is going to give me, well, I need one more range creep to give me level 6. And here I roll. So he's actually got, his Q actually just comes up. And so he casts his Q, but if you roll perfectly, and you can see here, I'm actually just going to click a lot of times on the wall. I'm going to frequently adjust which direction I want to bounce off of the wall at, and adjust where I'm going to hit to cause this Puck to actually just die here. Which he kind of deserves to die, to be honest, for not queuing correctly, because he did get time to escape. That was kind of just a chance kind of thing. But you can see how you can just bounce off the wall and get these solo kills. It's very nice. And now I'm just abusing the fact that I know the Puck's dead. I have all of my resources alive. They'd have to send a lot of heroes mid to kill me right now. Puck's not even level 6. And now I'm just taking advantage of farming the map, which is just something you can do when you know you're ahead and you know the limits of your hero. Oh, before I end this clip, I do actually go for one more roll to try to get this rune. It doesn't really work out. It was very optimistic. Don't really know if he would have died if that was a different rune and not a haste rune, but I don't think it's that bad to expend your roll. So that's something that I value. Is a lot of people say, oh, roll's down, he messed up, he wasted roll. But realistically, your roll is on like a 70-second cooldown. It used to be on a much lower cool, I think 50 seconds when the hero came out. But it's really not that bad to expend your roll on these chances, especially while you're learning, to see the true limits of this hero if you play it perfectly. So I really don't mind wasting roll like that. Alright, so after I get that kill on Puck, I just want you to notice the items that I buy from base. So I don't end up using my Q on any of these waves or this to finish off this camp. I do realize that if I kill this camp fast, I'm just going to have to walk over and auto-attack the jungle creeps anyways, so it doesn't make that much of a difference. So here I ferry myself out of Mango. So I don't like ferrying myself out Mangoes too much, but if my mana pool is incredibly low on the hero, I don't mind just spending the gold to make sure that I can continue to clear waves as fast as I can and go jungle as fast as I can. So you'll see here this raindrop actually saves my life too. And the play ends up going well, but just watch the camera as well too. So this does end up turning out to be a kill. I don't actually need to press W here. I do skill it anyways just in case something would have happened to my roll. I did stream this game almost, well, I actually did. I screamed very loudly when this ogre was running at me. I was scared I was going to get fire blasted. Luckily, things work out. And just see how low my mana is after that exchange. And how valuable that mango, in retrospect, was. I didn't really need to cast my shield crash, though, but maybe that ogre might have killed me afterwards if I hadn't ferried myself that mango and valued my mana differently in the lane. Alright, so I get back to the wave. Just to show you how efficiently things are going for me now. So as I kill both those creeps, I'm just queuing through the jungle creeps constantly just to make sure they die faster. There's no real reason not to queue through creeps and get the 5th proc on Swashbuckle. If you're gonna swash anyways, like there's no reason not to do that. Here, something that I think is always important is don't end your roll here and just start auto-attacking the ogre. Just keep rolling and then make sure you can actually just kill the creeps as well. I get a nice item here. Some fight happens here as well. I think I end up living, but not too big a deal. Back to the jungle. Very farm heavy. You can notice here that you didn't notice in the other replays, even though I didn't really play them through the entire way, is that I'm constantly looking at what's going on the map. So you can see me clicking on mid. You can see me, I clicked on bottom earlier to see if that Sven was dying, and it influences my rotations. Like, I'm just constantly making decisions in these games, and it really shows, like, on where I end up going on the map, which directions I end up farming, if I end up rolling or not. But overall, you can see the camera movement is much more straightforward, which is something I do want to stress, because I feel like this is something that plagues a lot of lower MMR players and stops them from climbing. Alright, so there's not much more I want to show off in this Immortal Pango replay. It's really just a lot of efficient farming and mana usage. So I remember when you looked at some of those Divine Pango plays, you saw his mana usage was very questionable in the middle of the game. Where in this game, you can see I have a healthy mana pool. I have a Clarity popped right now. I can continue to swash to kill creep waves, and if something were to happen on the map, I can just go to it immediately, and it's really just simple to get there. You can see I continue to swash efficiently. I click to see what's going on in the bot lane, something that you wouldn't see very often. I decide to TP. It does get canceled, which is kind of bad, but I do go back to jungling. And this is how I keep this advantage. So this Puck has 4,700 net worth, and I have 5,800 net worth. What was the difference? He did get solo killed earlier, didn't he? Isn't that why your net worth is so high? No. I've actually just been killing jungle creeps so fast. I've been clearing out mid-wave every time I hit my tower. And I've just been looking at what's going on the map. I've been playing efficiently. I didn't die in some of the circumstances where I maybe should have died for playing aggressively. But when you play Pango, you're rewarded for playing aggressively. You're able to bait more heroes onto you most of the time, as long as you don't die. But most of the time, you're able to bait heroes onto you. Typically live. Here, a bot play does work out. I kind of press W here. My build is kind of different this game. I do think W There are games where you maybe want to skill W a bit more than other games. But you can see here I'm taking fights, and I just have a healthy mana pool over the course of the entire fight. I have a magic wand. I have this bracer to help me live longer against the puck and the techies, and a lot of things are just going better. A lot of camera movement is better. Killing creep camps is better. You can just see how I walk around the map and see what's going on. It's just a lot different than Divine Pango. Alright, so before I wrap up this video, I just want to say one thing I've learned from coaching. Recently, I coached a 4K player, and I've also noticed this while making this video, is that something people just don't do, just in general, is looking at the map and seeing what's going on in different lanes, in the jungle, in everywhere, and letting that influence their decision. And checking that constantly, increasing the frequency at which you check certain things that are going on the map is something very important. That if you let this influence your decision, and you ask yourself, should I be running to this location? Should I farm towards here? Should I farm towards this place? If you let that influence your decision making, you'll become a much better player overall. And I think that if you do this, you'll be less late to fights, and you'll be more impactful in your games. So again, thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions, comments, advice going forward, definitely leave them in the comments. And hope you guys have a great night.